Welcome to another Wild Elk Technology presentation. It is all about 802.1x Network Access Control, NAC protocol. 802.1x is a standard for port-based network access control, (NAC) developed by the IEEE. It provides a framework for authenticating devices that want to connect to a LAN or WLAN. Ensuring that only authorized devices can access the network, we would discuss the key components of 802.1x. The main components are Supplicant, Authenticator, Authenticator Server. What is a supplicant? Supplicant is the client device like a laptop or smartphone that wants to join the network. The supplicant must provide credentials to gain access. Next, we try to understand what an authenticator is. Authenticator is a network device, such as an Ethernet switch or wireless access point, that acts as a gatekeeper. It controls access to the network based on the credentials provided by the supplicant. Finally, the Authentication Server. Typically, the Authentication Server a radius server. This server verifies the credentials provided by the supplicant and informs the authenticator whether to grant access. Now let's try to understand how it all works. Let's understand the initiation part. The authenticator sends an EAP extensible authentication protocol request to the supplicant, asking for identity information. The supplicant's response in return. The supplicant responds with its identity, which the authenticator forwards to the authentication server. Verification process. The authentication server checks the credentials. If they are valid, it sends an acceptance message back to the authenticator. And finally, the access is granted. The authenticator allows the supplicant to access the network. Next topic, about the benefits of 802.1x. Enhanced security. 802.1x has enhanced security by ensuring that only authenticated devices can access the network. 802.1x helps protect against unauthorized access. 802.1x is flexible. It works with both wired and wireless networks, making it versatile for various network environments. 802.1x is scalable, suitable for both small and large networks, from home setups to enterprise environments. Now that we understand the basic concept of 802.1x, let's try to understand the security side of it in the following topic. When implementing 802.1x for network access control, there are several important security considerations to keep in mind. For example, EAP method selection, certificate management, authentication server security, network device configuration, user and device management, monitoring and logging. EAP method selection. There are two methods. Method 1 EAPTLS, Method 2 PAPN Mashop2. What is EAPTLS? EAPTLS method uses digital certificates for both the client and server, providing strong security. However, it requires a public key infrastructure PKI to manage certificates. Method 2. What is PAPN Mashop2? PAPN Mashop2 method uses a combination of a server certificate and user credentials, username, password. It's easier to deploy, but less secure than EAPTLS. Certificate management. There are two methods. Method 1 certificate expiration and revocation. Method 2 secure storage. Method 1. What is certificate expiration and revocation? Regularly update and manage certificates to prevent expired or compromised certificates from being used. Method 2. What is secure storage? Ensure that private keys and certificates are stored securely to prevent unauthorized access. Authentication Server. Security. There are two methods. Discuss radius server and topic 2 about redundancy. About radius server. The radius server should be securely configured and regularly updated to protect against vulnerabilities. It should also be placed in a secure network segment. Redundant servers. Redundancy. Implement redundant radius servers to ensure availability in case of failure. Network device configuration. There are two methods in this topic. We would discuss Authenticator configuration and firmware updates. Authenticator configuration. Ensure that switches and access points are properly configured to handle 802.1x authentication requests securely. Firmware updates. Keep the firmware of network devices up to date to protect against known vulnerabilities. User and device management. In this topic, we would discuss about user education and device compliance. User education. Educate users about the importance of secure credentials and the risks of sharing them. Device compliance. Ensure that all devices comply with security policies before granting network access. Monitoring and logging. In this topic, we would discuss about activity logs and conducting regular audits. Activity logs. Maintain detailed logs of authentication attempts and network access to detect and respond to suspicious activities. Regular audits. Conduct regular security audits to identify and mitigate potential vulnerabilities. Mitigating man-in-the-middle attacks. This topic we are going to discuss mutual authentication and security AP methods. Mutual authentication. Use mutual authentication methods like EAPTLS to ensure both the client and server authenticate each other. Security AP methods. Avoid using less security AP methods that are susceptible to man-in-the-middle attacks. Fallback mechanisms. In this topic is about guest access. What is guest access? Guest access means implementing secure guest access mechanisms to handle devices that do not support 802.1x. Hope the presentation was helpful. Please like, share, and subscribe to Wild Elk Technology Presentations.